This is part one of the Mask Array Mask Off Empowerment Conference 2020, hosted by yours, Geneva G. Barber.
Like you guys to do for me, if you would be so kind, is I want us to get to know each other. So can you please go find an individual that you do not know and introduce yourself? That means you gotta get up.
She live.
Heavenly Father, I want to say thank you. Thank you for this day, Father God. Thank you for each and every individual that was able to make it out on tonight. Let us be open and accessible to all that you have for us on today. Let us receive something and let us break free from something as well, Father God. Lord, it's you that I glorify and I magnify bigger than any and all things that anyone in here under the sound of my voice is facing right now. You are bigger than that. You are stronger than that, and you can overcome that. You have already done it. And you are not a respecter of persons, so if you did check in, it'll bring up the location of here, this address that we are at right now at Living God's Ministry. To bring it to you all is a phenomenal man of God, if I must say so myself. Okay. He is a recording artist. He's a published author. He's a social activist. That's just the least of what I can say about him. I can really go in about him. And, but he's a son. He's a brother, a father, an uncle. You know, all those titles that we tend to have. But most importantly, he's God's child. And he's carrying out his assignment while he is here on this earth. When I met this person, his name is Jermaine. He goes by Maine the Baptist. When I met him, it was some umpteen years ago. I'm not gonna give away my age. However, when I met him, seriously, we worked together, and upon us working together, there were some individuals that just didn't understand him. Okay, and they would come and be like, "Oh, well, and I'm like, "Hey, me right here, you don't want to say that to me because I like to fight." Okay, and that one right there, like, I will fight you about that one. Okay, he's misunderstood. Don't take it personal. He means well, believe me. You know, and I just seen that in him, right? All the while they would try to bash him and him going through what he was going through, I still believe in he's better than what people perceive him to be. And I've always felt like that. I've always had his back. Nobody can come and say nothing wrong about him to me. So, without further ado, would you guys help me welcome my brother in Christ, Jermaine, Maine the Baptist.
It's a little too loose in here. Let me get on go. I didn't even plan on performing, but it's too stiff in here, man. I think it might have been me. What she's doing here, I'm telling you, this thing is going to grow, and this is the base right here. G, what you're doing, God is so pleased with you. And don't be discouraged of who showed up, who didn't show up, because sometimes you got to rally your base and get your team right before you take over the city, then take over the state, then take over the nation, then take over the world, and plant your flag for God. You know what I mean? So what we're doing here right now, we're just rallying each other, because we all wear masks. I don't have on no mask now, but I'm always wearing my mask. I will get into that a little bit, but let me loosen y'all up. Let's go. We're going to go with On Go.
I came from the mud, I died for the drugs, I conquered the hate, I did it with love, it is what it was. I came from the dirt, but I put in the work. I'm covered by blood, he showed me my work, the salt of the earth. And you should know, I'm on go, I'm a ticking time bomb, I'm about to blow, that means I'm straight. I did it by faith, I'm running this race, you all in my lane, stay in your place. They got a lot to say, but they capped out. No GPS, but it's mapped out. Was a lost soul at the crossroads to salvation or the cash route. Elohim or the triple beam. Family really tried to intervene, it won't end well. End up in a cell, burning in hell. What the hell you mean? I was sitting high, feeling low, up and down like an elevator. Scratch that like an escalator. Now I'm innovating with the innovators. Wanna see proof? You can see me later. Get a force strong, no Darth Vader. I done took the hate, made a plate, when it ate, bro. Who cares about the hater? sweepstakes. It's a dirty world, I jump clean through the blood of the lamb, it's erased. Two-stepping with the devil, I done came a long way. God put me on a mission, I did not come to play. Just had to let go, let my soul glow, walked it out by faith. The devil all in my face, that boy trying my grace. But he should know, bro, I'm on go mode, and through God I'm straight. Pulled his card, no waste, that boy gave me space. I came from the mud, I dabbled in drugs, I conquered the hate, I did it with love, it is what it was. I came from the dirt, but I put in the work. I'm covered by blood, he showed me my worth, the salt of the earth. And you should know, I'm on go. I'm a ticking time bomb, I'm about to blow. That means I'm straight, I did it by faith. I'm running this race, you all in my lane, stay in your place.
But listen though, but this is really why I'm here though. I wanted to come and speak. I mean, like, me rapping, that's cool. I'm a published author, that's cool. I'm a community activist, that's fine. I'm a mental health advocate, that's cool. But those are all masks. Because what I go through, people look at me like I got strength. And I do through God. But I'm weak. Right now, I'm fighting depression. I'm fighting so many things. And since this is mask off, I'm taking my mask off in front of y'all. I met G at a time of my life where it was really rough. I started off as a rapper, a secular rapper. I see some young folks in here. You might not. I was addicted to cocaine for 13 years. I was an alcoholic. There was nothing good about me. Now, people might have seen the good that was to come later, but there was nothing absolutely going right in my life. When me and G was working together over there at VistaCon, I used to be on all-night flights. Some of the people that ain't too familiar with that, that's where you just go all night on cocaine and drink all night. I go right into work. I'm pretty sure that stuff was just coming out my pores. And that went on for about 13 years. I picked up that habit. I went on the road with some people like Maine Fresh, Trina, A-Ball and MJG. It was so many names back in the day. I'm from Pensacola, Florida. I used to be signed with Roy Jones Jr. But that's how I got started. Drinking, drugs, 14 years old. One thing when you go to do a show, they're always giving you free drinks, especially if you got a name on you. If you can imagine every time you go somewhere to rap and you just have a spread of drinks, that means every stop you go, every night you drink, and you're drinking more than you eat. I'm young. I mean, everybody is my elder by 16 years at this point. They doing stuff I had no clue what was going on. But I found myself on cocaine. Fast forward to 2012, I went to rehab. I stayed in rehab for 90 days. It was cool. Like, my family was like, oh, you getting the kind of help that white people get. You go to rehab. And I did. I went to rehab. And it was cool until the first day I got out. Got high again. Kept going. Fast forward to 2015. Now let me tell you something about myself. We're going to stop it right there. But let me tell you something. When you're in this rap world, when you're an entertainer, you're prideful. You don't want people to see you mask off. You want to keep your mask on. I carried that into church. The very place that you need your mask off, I kept it on. I grew up in the church, Southern Baptist, Pensacola, Florida. It's a church on every block. And when I stand up doing praise and worship, I'm still like this because I'm scared of how people may look at me. I can't put my hands up in praise. I love you guys, but I don't love you that much to make a fool of myself. I can't jump around and holler. But see, what I didn't know is that the weapon is in the praise. You can pray for whatever you want to. God will answer it. But if you want immediate action, you need to praise him. Amen. And that's what I learned. And let me tell you how I learned that. I'm a huge Florida State fan. There we go. I say I'm a huge Florida State fan. Now, I know you can't have hate in your heart to make it to heaven, but I hate the Gators. I see you in here, so I ain't going to say nothing about them. But Florida State at this time, 2015, had beat, during the age of Tim Tebow, Aaron Hernandez, and all of them, I watched them destroy Florida State. We was on a 5-year run. I said, okay, I'm going to celebrate tonight. I'm just going to get a 6-pack, and that's it. That's always what an addict say. That 6-pack turned into two 12-packs and a bottle of gin and an 8-ball of cocaine. Now, by this time, I'm sick of it. I said, you know what? That's it. We're going to end it tonight. I'm going to die tonight. I was like staying with my mom. I was like, man, the last thing I want to do is for them to come home and find me hanging. So I then scoped out where I'm going to go, how I'm going to do this. But then earlier that week, I met somebody at my job. He was coming by I worked at a place that rented out tables and chairs, and he came to pick up some chairs from a church. And I just moved here by this time again. So I got his number. I called him. I said, man, bro, if you don't come by and get me, I'm be dead by the time you come out of church. So he came and he picked me up. So praise and worship was going on, and I was soaking, and I was just down, and I was crying. I could barely breathe out my nose because all the stuff I clogged up in it the night before, and just drunk and just everything. But I have never heard God's voice, but I heard it this day. And he said, clear as day, penetrated the drugs, penetrated the alcohol, penetrated the pride. He said, if you want to be done with this forever, you got to praise me like you never did before. I was like, man, I want to be done with this. But that's my weakness. Praising. I got to look like a fool. That's what I'm thinking. But then I snapped out of it. I thought about them two right there. I thought about my mom. I thought about my grandmama. I thought about everything. I said, I need to praise him. 4 straight songs. I ain't talking about like your grandmama praise. I'm talking about a maniac praise. Snot running down my nose, tears run. I'm talking about I was praising. Everybody looked at me. That's been almost 5 years ago. I haven't touched nothing since. And see, that's the kind of thing that praise will get you. And you know, like when you have we all human. All of us are the same. You know, we all dealing with the same thing. I feel like I'm overlooking. I'm taking my mask off now. I'm an author. I have a documentary out about that whole experience I told you on YouTube. I have done some amazing things in my life. But yeah, I feel like I'm overlooked. I feel like my past, I have PTSD from my past. And it always haunts me. Whenever I'm sitting still, I can think about something I did on drugs, I just grab my head like, no, you got to give me a minute because I got to fight my way out of that. And then I started thinking about, is God really fighting for me? You know, and I know there's some things that we all realize and we all fight with. But if you feeling like that God don't have you where you think you should be, let me remind you of something. Jesus was walking with his disciples. 2 sisters sent word and said, my brother Lazarus is dying. We need you. Jesus, the OG he is, looked at him and said, I get there when I get there. So they sent that word back. So the disciples said, well, why are we going back here? You know, we're wanted man. He said, my friend Lazarus is asleep. I got to go wake him up. But when he got there, those 2 sisters knew Jesus and knew everything who he was. So they thought. Because if they knew who he was, they wouldn't have never opened their mouth to say, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Now, let me break this down for you. Jesus took an extra 4 days to get there. Jesus took an extra 4 days to get there. When he got there, he rose Lazarus up. Now, that should speak volumes if you feel like God is overlooking you. Because even though you think a situation is dead, Jesus will say, wake up and wake your situation up. You keep fighting. You stay fighting. Mask on or off. Stay fighting. And as far as your past go, if you're looking in the rearview mirror, let me remind you that there's 2 small rear views and 1 big one in front of you. You keep looking in them 2 rear views, you're going to end up hitting something. You're supposed to glance in those. Let me tell you something. Your past don't mean nothing. And if you want to ask somebody about it, ask Saul. Who Saul? Who Saul? Saul killed Christians in a manner that has never been seen. Donald Trump, what he doing to all these Hispanics ain't nothing compared to what Saul did to Christians. But Saul killed so many Christians, but he said, I'm not even satisfied until I kill the head honcho. Where's Peter? He caught word that Peter was in Damascus. He said, man, hey, everybody, strap up. We're going to kill Peter. Peter, the head apostle, whom Jesus left in charge. They go down this winding road, a road to Damascus. He so sought out after Peter. His homeboys, like, you got to think of biblical terms. It wasn't no paved roads. I mean, it was rough. It was storms, desert storms. They were on horseback and on foot. It took weeks to get where they were going. They started falling off. People were like, man, I want them dead. Not like that. I'm going to go back. And one by one, they started dropping off. Till it was about 2 or 3 of them left. And then something happened. Saul, on his way to go into Damascus, started seeing something. Nobody else saw it. It was Jesus. The same person who he persecuted. He asked him, who are you? Who are you? He said, Saul, I'm Jesus who you persecute. Blinded him. As the story goes on, he blinded him. He got his sight back. But Saul went on to write half of the New Testament. Everything you know about Jesus is because of Saul. He turned his name to Paul. And Saul went to Paul and went on to do some amazing things in the body of Christ. Who would have ever thought the man that murdered Christians himself, if he had a chance to kill Jesus again, he'll do it? Who would have thought that God would use somebody who persecuted his people to deliver his word? I want you to understand that half the books of the New Testament, of the Bible, was wrote by somebody who killed Christians. That's the power of God. So if God can use his past, why can't he use you? You better let that past go. If you go revisit your past, it better be to help pull somebody up as an example. That's the only time. And everything that you're going through, we all got a common enemy. Some call it Lucifer, Beelzebub, the devil, Satan. One thing about him, he know you better than you know yourself. Man, I'll be on Facebook, and one thing I absolutely hate is when people, like, I'm pro-black, love Malcolm X. But when people say that Christianity is the slave man religion, it kills me. It kills me. It shows true ignorance. They have no clue that Ethiopia was the first Christian nation. Been celebrating Christianity since the 2nd century. But yet, the devil has planted. See, one thing about him, he know our own people. We want to be so recognized as a strong race, which we are, but we will stand up and try to tear down Christianity just to build ourselves up. Not all of us, but most of us. And see, the devil knows us, but he uses things that you struggle with They come against you as a weapon. You depressed, that man cheated on you, you gave him everything, that's going to be a weapon against you that he can use. Anything that you're struggling with, that's a weapon. But let me remind you about what happens with weapons. There was a young man whose name was David. He was the young son. The prophet Samuel came looking for the next anointed king to take over Israel after King Saul. And the dad came and said, "These are my sons." The prophet Samuel said, "Nah, God ain't tell me these two. You got somebody else? Oh, we got little David, but he just watched the sheep. Bring him to me." David came, so and Samuel said, "That's the one I'm looking for." Anointed him as the new king on the spot. David, skinny like me, little boy. And the thing about David, he went out with his brothers. There was a big war going on. And the Israelites were getting pumped by a giant named Goliath. And he's just standing there. He's selling out to each one of them. "Bring me your best and I'm going to drop them on the spot." He did it repeatedly. The Israelites, these are God's chosen people. They sitting there, let somebody just, uncircumcised Philistine, what they call them, say, y'all gonna let that man sit there and talk to you? David said, "I'll fight him." So King Saul said, "Whoever defeat this man, I will give him my daughter to marry." And back then, whatever he said, 1,000 sheep, whatever that, I guess that's like $1 million today. I don't know. But he definitely told, I know David said, I won't fight that man. I ain't scared of him. This how desperate they was. And this how scared the soldiers was. Yeah, let the little 14-year-old go fight. Yeah, let him go fight. They started putting on all kind of armor on David. David said, "Now, I don't fight like this. Y'all need to take this off me." Mask off. He wanted that mask off. "Take this armor off me." Gave him a sword. David could barely pick the sword. "I don't need that." They said, "What you gonna fight with?" He said, "Give me my slingshot and 3 rocks." Everybody looked at him like he was crazy. He stepped out there. Goliath said, "Oh, y'all tripping. This what y'all said? I asked for y'all best. Y'all bring me a little kid?" While he's sitting there talking, David loading his thing up. He just sitting there selling out. Next thing you know, David just winding up. Bam! Dropped him. Rock between the eyes. But here's the misconception. Everybody think that's where the story ends. They think David beat Goliath with a rock and a slingshot. No, he didn't. David put down his slingshot, walked up to him, picked up Goliath's own sword, and chopped his head off. That same sword that was used against David, David picked that same weapon up used against him. So whatever weapon that Satan using against you, that whatever weapon Satan is using against you, that's going to be the same weapon you use to cut his head off. See, he used cocaine against me. He used all that against me. But my cocaine trials brought me to deliverance, which took me all over the world. Talking about my testimony. I want y'all right now to realize who you are with that mask off. Keep it off. Because that's the only way you can deliver somebody else. With that mask off. There are so many things that God wants you to do. Only you. I can't do what you do. I'm looking at the young people back there. I know I can't do what y'all do. I don't even know. I work with some young folks at Amazon. They be talking. I be like Googling, like trying to see what that word mean. I don't be knowing. But there's some stuff that you can do at your age that only you can do. The fingerprint, the DNA, everything that God has placed in you, that's you. But you can't do it with a mask on. You got to have that mask on. Because I try to be as open and honest as possible. Because one thing about me, with my mask off, like G said, they still bash me to this day. The worst thing to me is to be misunderstood. I hate it. But I ain't going to let it stop being me. I talk the way I talk. I walk the way I walk. Some people think it's cocky, but I'm not. And I want you just to make sure that just keep your mask off. Because when you let it all hang out, somebody, that's how people connected to you can realize that they're connected to you. Like, there's no way. Like, if I keep my mask on and keep all my secrets hidden, nobody on drugs will be delivered through my message. Because I'm robbing them of a blessing. And that's the way I stay grounded. Right now, I'm going through a storm. You know, it's like they say, it's 3 phases in life. Are you going in the storm, you're in the middle of a storm, or you just got out of one? I feel like I'm in all 3. But doing this right here is helping me stay encouraged. So I want y'all to know I love y'all. I ain't got to know y'all to love y'all. Y'all keep that mask off. You wear it off with pride. God is in your corner. And I'm in your corner too. G, continue to do what you're doing. Continue to do what you're doing. I love y'all. Should I? Let me get one. I'm gonna do one more song. Yeah. Let's go with Victory. This song called Victory. And look, man, this dedicated to y'all because y'all got the victory already. You know what I mean? So just claim it. Stand on you to be. Be who God told you was gonna be. He ain't lied to you. He ain't never lied. His word is true. Stand on it. You the one that's down there. I'm Maine about this, and this is my testimony. All right, let's go. Like I said, this song is Victory. It's off my album. I had to change. It's set at the charts for me.
I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory is mine. Go ahead, now go ahead. Victory is mine. I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory is mine. Hey, victory is mine. Okay. They say life and death is in the power of the tongue, so I'm speaking life. I got the devil on the run. I was born dirty. Jesus made me clean. Look, this a praise break. Hit the tambourine. Yeah, this a battle cry. Don't make me testify. Victory is in this thing. That's why it's glorified. Third day, he rose up, no longer crucified. Lucifer is losing, brother. Devil been alive. I told Satan. That's right. To get thee behind. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Now I don't entertain Satan. Satan, that boy be hating. With 2 or more gathered, that's a whole congregation. I don't hold conversation. I break the foundation. From the start, I had the heart, the spark, a generation. Yeah. See, I don't put my trust in man. See how they do it. That's worth the amen and a hallelujah. I got the grand prize, not because I pay my tithes, cause my Savior lives and he breathes. They could have swore he died. I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. I told Satan to get thee behind. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Put your hands up for G.O.D. Give him praise, give him all the glory. Gonna praise his name with me, say victory. Victory. Put your hands up for G.O.D. Give him praise, give him all the glory.
Thanks for watching the Masquerade Mask Off Conference 2020. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this video along with the other videos. Stay tuned for part 2 and 3 of the conference. And be sure to be to the next one. We'll see you then.